purchase it, he's working on a job and one of the guys says they need equipment and he has them go after it,
So we don't have any checks and balances on what we purchase.
Well, they purchase it and he gets the receipt and they bring it and turn it in.
Okay.
It's the Director of Utility Services for his equipment.
Okay. All right.
The large items though, they run it through you, right?
Yeah,
And then we have
anything
that
that's
cap.
big, but the
Big, you're talking $5,000 though.
basically over $1,000, I'm gonna know before it's purchased. We have a discussion about it. All our printers, computers, anything that we're purchasing that requires more than just hand tools and daily working and stuff. I know.
Okay. And then I think there should be a cost factor involved in it too. If I'll bring that up at the end of the meeting. I have,
I don't think there's a problem. We could create just a justification based on purchases that come back with a generic thing as you're describing.
I think it should be. I think that Paula needs to know what she's
Right,
looking at.
I don't disagree with that.
And I also think that we need to have an inventory of district tools and property. And I'll bring that up at my board conference.
Do we do any sort of property tagging?
No, we should be though.
We have in the past, and I know Kelly's went to a great extent to photograph, tag, identify all items of these values, and if they are broken or old, that they go through a process to surplus out.
Right.
But expendable items, things that get used and broken, consumables are not, and, I don't know how long it's been since that policy has been updated and all the equipment's been accounted for, but.
Well, let's talk about a consumable. You purchase so many pallets or containers of chlorine, right? And then you report out how much you apply.
Well, we buy it in bulk, so we're not buying containers of it.
Okay.
So we're buying, say we buy 300 gallons of chlorine for the well in 12th Street.
Okay.
So it gets individually invoiced for
Right.
that chlorine. And that's going to that well, it's delivered to that well.
Right.
And that's how it's reported to Paula. So when we get the invoice from Univar, the packing slip that we got from the driver saying he delivered this much goes with that.
Okay, but somebody's there to receive it and they go, oh yeah, it's there, and they sign that, right?
I make sure that I have backup and
Right.
it's signed, we got it. If we get an invoice for chlorine today and we get one 3 months from now, I question him.
Right,
because
okay.
It's, you know, you,
Right, but at the same time, you're keeping a record of how much chlorine you're dispensing into the system.
Right. If somebody came,
So they're-
in that instance, if somebody came and was stealing chlorine from us, we would know because we're using it at a faster rate than we would normally use it.
Right.
You know, I couldn't tell you exactly how many gallons they took, but if we were to burn through it faster than we normally would, then either A, we have some sort of leak somewhere, which would be immediately caught because it's hard to miss that,
Right.
or somebody's taking it.
and that actually happened with our propane tank.
It was leaking?
Well, it was.
Well, it was leaking slow at first, and you could barely catch a whiff of it once in a while, and then all of a sudden it was leaking really bad.
And who owns that?
We didn't.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah,
So
that's what I
my-
said.
Because they fix it and they
came out and fixed it.
They figure out how much to put back in it.
They came out and fixed it. Actually, they came out and replaced the tank, and they didn't charge us to do that, but we still had to pay for the propane.
Right. Okay, that's all I had.
Did they install it originally?
As long as I've been here, it's always been with Wild Horse, which is our
And
current
that's,
company.
it's an old tank?
Yeah.
Okay.
But the district bought it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why?
So
I
you-
couldn't tell you
yeah,
why.
I'll tell you why, because then you can buy propane from anybody you want.
Yeah,
If you own the tank, you don't have to do business
and
with
that's
one
kind of an
company.
advantage you need in
It's
an
a huge
emergency.
advantage. Not only that, but you can price them out,
Yeah,
and they can't hold you over a barrel.
right.
Yeah, but we ended up paying almost $800 for the propane that we lost.
Well, normally, I've had propane tanks replaced too. And like, if they replace a propane tank, they'll take the old one back, put in a new one, but they'll give you credit for the propane that's in the old one.
Right, but when you own the tank,
Yeah,
that's different.
yeah, right, but either way, because like, I've had tanks that were owned, and then I decided to rent tanks from,
And they credit you for what was in it?
yeah, and so they come and get the old one,
Right,
put in the new one,
right.
but whatever's left in that old tank, you get,
That's
they
cool.
credit you for it, so.
That's good.
If they just take the old tank and the propane and stuff, and they're not giving you credit for it, somebody's getting ripped off,
Right.
you know?
Is there any board's comment? Is there any
Just have
public?
a couple
Oh.
of questions, Paul. Okay, some of the line items,
Which reclaim, Jeff?
this would be the report P100C,
Okay,
and some of the items under the percent committed are in the 750%, 292%, 639%, 753%. So did we not budget that properly to get us to a point where we're more than 7 times what we expected for that particular item? Specifically, page 307, item number 120, under wastewater, there is a, looks like a tax, like a,
Payroll is, we're still working on, we almost had it done, and then we went to paychecks, and now we're kinda back to square one again. So we're still, reconciling the payroll and tweaking it. We're not quite there yet, but we're almost there.
okay,
So, and like I said, we're gonna be doing some reconciling. I honestly didn't get a chance to look at these reports because Tamara was on vacation, Liliana was injured, so I was running back and forth from my desk to, handle the front desk.
okay.
But, yeah, just if you wanna go by these, things that you have questions on, I will look into it and get back to you.
Okay. I'll send you an email.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Mhm.
That's all I have.
Is there any public comment? Please? You can ask from there.
Okay, on page, well, I had a number of things, and I usually like to come and talk to, her and find out, you know, if I'm misunderstanding something, which often happens, or not, or why, what is what. And I had your same question, and kind of figured that out as to why. But, I had a lot of other little questions, like on page 37, the amount of money spent for CalPERS was like 5,000 something. Okay, so is that a typical amount in the month for CalPERS? All the different benefit things that go through CalPERS? Or is that not monthly?
It is, I would have to look at that and find out specifically what it is, because we have CalPERS retirement, we have CalPERS health, we also have our supplemental 457 plan, we have our unfunded accrued liabilities,
Right.
which are coming up. Let me see, we're also gonna have the 1959 survivor, that's our accidental death insurance that gets reconciled once a year that we are gonna be paying, so I'll look into that. We also have a new employee that's going to be contributing into that as well, so I'll have to look into that.
You want to bring your questions into the office?
I can do that. I have a couple of things though, and I kind of think they're important in terms of the board paying attention to some of these things and understanding what's being spent or what's not being spent.
Can I make one more quick comment?
Sure.
The actuarial reconciliation for our retirement is due, and I pulled some reports, and they offer a program where if you pay all of it up front, you get a discount. And we figured it was about $460 to our benefit to pay it up front. So I talked to Rob and Kelly and Tamara and everybody, and we are going to go ahead and pay for that up front so we can capture that discount. And, because it's money that's gonna be appropriated anyway, so we can save $500. Then I won't have to make those
Installments?
entries. well, yeah, but, you know, create the claim and then pay it every month. So it will take a few things off of my plate.
So I just kind of like to very briefly tell you some of the page numbers and what my little question or concern was. And on page 38, the fire cost for the attorney, it's a specific cost for fire, which is something we ask to do to have specific costs like that separated out. My concern with that was it's almost as much as the Steinbeck bill. So I hope it was something really important that took a lot of attorney time to be that amount of money. On page 43, there's listed 942 Soka Way lift station. What in the world is that? I know there's some different lift stations, that's in the PG&E building, but is Soka a new one, Kelly? What?
Soka is the lift station at Mission Gardens. So 942 Soka is the address of that lift station.
And each person pays an extra sewer charge.
Yeah, everybody in that development pays towards the use of that.
Of that PG&E, or no, that's a pump station or something?
That's a sewer lift station.
Yeah.
There's just one, right?
Yeah, we only have one.
In the district.
We have a treatment plant which has a lift station.
Right.
As part of the
But you're
treatment
talking
plant.
about-
That's the only other lift station.
I thought there were three, maybe one's more.
This is for sewer. We have 3 wells.
Okay, because those would be the other ones. I was just curious what that
I'm
was.
looking at the numbers.
And then back to the fire one on page 57, where it's listed, it,
John, on the email version, it's numbered, the whole
I can't
thing's
follow.
numbered, yes.
Go ahead.
okay, so the fire is listed when you come to the fire report. The fire expenditure for attorneys is listed under general, so it's not the same amount as was separate for fire. And I thought that was the object of the category of general legal services, and then there is the specific account number 331, and there's 327, which is general. So I sort of feel like that should be under a different designation in fire, just for records. When you go back and look, fire can see that their specific fire legal fees were this much for the year, rather than see the whole general total. And that's on page 57. And then on page 50, I think it's 57.
57 is the solid waste.
Okay, that must be a different number than that I wrote down wrong. But it's under the listing for
57 is
fire,
solid waste.
fire's specific expenses. And it's number 2704, or that's the amount of money that should be in professional services legal rather than general, my opinion. So on page 52, there's a little additional, I think it's one of the little quirks of the program, that says street lighting as the title, and right under it, it says 62,000 fire account. It doesn't have any money, but it doesn't belong there,
There's 96 cents committed to it.
does it? And page 55, wastewater, year-to-date appropriations are 588,000 and some more. The current appropriation is 845,000. And they added, you added at some time, an increase to the budget because the year-to-date figures of the money allotted, appropriated, changed from what was the original to a higher amount. It was much higher for water and sewer that was increased, and it was a minor amount for the other accounts. I don't remember that, but I haven't been at all the meetings, but I was just curious about why that happened. And on page 56, water, a similar situation. Their appropriation went from 896,000 to $1 million. I'm not sure why, or when that happened. And solid waste, page 57, my concern there is all of their expenditures are for sharing county, or sharing district-wide expenses. And really no expenditures in solid waste, as solid waste. Page 68, the cash report. Interesting that there's cash in San Luis County for water and wastewater. Paula, you probably know why that is. Those two accounts have a lot of money at the county.
I'll have to see, I can't.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm not sure which page.
But anyway,
68, page 68, right?
yeah, page 68.
That's,
Well, on the
58.
numbering system I have,
58 or 68?
it's page, I think it's page 68, cash report.
It's 14, 58.
58.
16 seemed that's.
The report ends on 59.
Okay, well, I didn't get that right, did
The
I?
cash.
Yeah, it is 58, because I have it right here. Yeah.
96,000 for
And,
wastewater, 67,000 for water.
And the payroll part, I know that's listed at the very beginning of the information about the report in general. I'd like to see that payroll report each month by fund, not just all together. And it might be in there somewhere, but it's hard to figure out if you, because that means with the benefits. You can-
Amen.
You can see it without, but you can't see it otherwise.
Yeah, it's not in there, that's why I can't find it,
Yeah.
and we are working to get that in there. We kinda had to revamp how we're doing, because the payroll taxes and all that stuff does not come into our system, we have to manually put it in. So we have been making spreadsheets, so that when we get all those, when we process payment, we can plug that number in, and then I have to go in and manually put it into the system.